Good evening, everyone. To open our meeting tonight, Sharon, can you please announce the first hymn?
Hymn number 148. In heavenly love abiding, no change my heart shall fear, and safe is such confiding, for nothing changes here. The storm may roar without me, my heart may low be laid, but God is round about me, and can I be dismayed? Hymn number 148.
If you'd like to read along while the readings are being given tonight, please go to our website, plainfieldcs.com, and from the home page, under the Weekly Lessons tab, you'll find the link for the Wednesday testimony meeting, and you'll find the text of the readings there. And the theme for tonight is, Fear Not, Trust Love's Constant Care. And the readings will now be given by Florence from Georgia.
Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Isaiah. Thus said the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. For I am the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. Deuteronomy. And Moses went and spake these words unto all Israel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also the Lord hath said unto me, Thou shalt not go over this Jordan. The Lord thy God, he will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee, and thou shalt possess them. And Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as the Lord hath said. Be strong and of a good courage. Fear not, nor be afraid of them. For the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. And Moses called Joshua, and said unto him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of a good courage, for thou must go with this people unto the land which the Lord hath sworn unto their fathers to give them, and thou shalt cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee. He will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. Matthew. And when Jesus was entered into Capernaum, there came unto him a centurion, beseeching him, and saying, Lord, my servant lieth at home sick of the palsy, grievously tormented. And Jesus said unto him, I will come and heal him. The centurion answered and said, Lord, I am not worthy that thou shouldest come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant shall be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, Go, and he goeth, and to another, Come, and he cometh, and to my servant, Do this, and he doeth it. When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to them that followed, Verily I say unto you, I have not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. And Jesus said unto the centurion, Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And his servant was healed in the selfsame hour. Luke. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. John. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Romans. Ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Proverbs. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Psalm. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears. I will now read correlative passages from our textbook, Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, and prose works by Mary Baker Eddy. Divine love is my shepherd, I shall not want. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for love is with me. Love's rod and love's staff, they comfort me. The Apostle John says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. Here is a definite and inspired proclamation of Christian Science. Christian scientific practice begins with Christ's keynote of harmony. Be not afraid. Said Job, the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me. Fear was the first manifestation of the era of material sense. Thus error began and will end the dream of matter. Fear, heat, inflammation, anxiety, ignorance, error, desire, caution, is the fountain of sickness, and you master fear and sin through divine mind. Hence, it is through divine mind that you overcome disease. Casting out evil and fear enables truth to outweigh error. The only course is to take antagonistic grounds against all that is opposed to the health, holiness, and harmony of man, God's image. Sickness is a growth of error springing from mortal ignorance or fear. Error rehearses error. What causes disease cannot cure it. The soil of disease is mortal mind, and you have an abundant or scanty crop of disease according to the seedling of fear. Sin and the fear of disease must be uprooted and cast out. To hold yourself superior to sin because God made you superior to it and governs man is true wisdom. Fear sin is to misunderstand the power of love and the divine science of being in man's relation to God, to doubt his government and distrust his omnipotent care. Mind is God. The exterminator of error is the great truth that God, good, is the only mind, and that the supposititious opposite of infinite mind, called devil or evil, is not mind, is not truth, but error, without intelligence or reality. Consciousness constructs a better body when faith in matter has been conquered. Correct material belief by spiritual understanding, and spirit will form you anew. You will never fear again except to offend God, and you will never believe that heart or any portion of the body can destroy you. Neither animal magnetism nor hypnotism enters into the practice of Christian Science, in which truth cannot be reversed, but the reverse of error is true. An improved belief cannot retrograde. When Christ changes a belief of sin or of sickness into a better belief, then belief melts into spiritual understanding, and sin, disease, and death disappear. The cause of all so-called disease is mental, a mortal fear, a mistaken belief or conviction of the necessity and power of ill health. Also a fear that mind is helpless to defend the life of man and incompetent to control it. Without this ignorant human belief, any circumstance is of itself powerless to produce suffering. It is latent belief in disease as well as the fear of disease which associates sickness with certain circumstances and causes the two to appear conjoined, even as poetry and music are reproduced in union by human memory. Disease has no intelligence. Unwittingly, you sentence yourself to suffer. There is no door through which evil can enter, no space for evil to fill in a mind filled with goodness. Good thoughts are an impervious armor. Clad therewith, you are completely shielded from the attacks of error of every sort. The right thinker is safe and abides under the shadow of the Almighty. His thoughts can only reflect peace, goodwill, health, and holiness. Trust in him whose love enfolds thee. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Out of the depths have I cried unto thee. Divine love is never so near as when all earthly joys seem most afar. What a glorious inheritance is given to us through the understanding of omnipresent love. More we cannot ask, more we do not want, more we cannot have. The sweet assurance is the peace be still to all human fears, to suffering of every sort. We should master fear instead of cultivating it.
We will now have a moment of silent prayer, and then follow by repeating together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Okay, Jeff, can you please announce the next hymn?
Hymn number 402. How gentle God's commands, how kind his precepts are. Come cast your burdens on the Lord, and trust his constant care. Hymn number 402.
Good evening and welcome to the Plainfield Christian Science Church Independent. This is our weekly Wednesday evening testimony meeting for Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. Welcome one and all. All of our services, classes, etc. are broadcast to the public through live streaming over the internet through our website, as well as through our YouTube channel. And we also offer a teleconference feature so you can call up on your telephone and listen. We have reached people all over the globe. People from all over the world have found our church, and we're thankful for each and every one of you who have found your way here. I would like to encourage everyone to browse through our website, plainfieldcs.com. There's a lot of wonderful material on that website for your reading, listening, etc. And I'd like to point out one article that we're now featuring on the home page of our website. It's entitled Purpose by Evelyn Haywood. There's nothing more satisfying than knowing what our purpose is and that it is a God-given purpose. Read this article. It's a wonderful article. Join us every Sunday. We start at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sundays with our roundtable discussion. We follow that with our church service at 11 o'clock. And we also have a Sunday school for children. It meets every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock in the morning. And this Sunday school goes out to its students by its own teleconference number. So your child can attend regardless of where you live. Call the church, we'll give you the number for the Sunday school, and we would love to welcome your child there. We will also be having another Bible study this Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning, and the study questions are on the website. So join us Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning to discuss and study our Bible. I will now read from the Church Manual by Mary Baker Eddy, the section entitled Testimonials. Glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's, St. Paul. Testimony in regard to the healing of the sick is highly important. More than a mere rehearsal of blessings, it scales the pinnacle of praise and illustrates the demonstration of Christ, who healeth all thy diseases. This testimony, however, shall not include a description of symptoms or of suffering, though the generic name of the disease may be indicated. And for everyone that gives a testimony tonight, please keep it within 4 minutes so that everyone will have a chance to share their offering. And for those of you who are on the teleconference, when you're ready to give your testimony, please press ***. But also remember that when you do so, we will be able to hear you as well as any other sounds that your telephone picks up. So please be in a quiet place. And I will call on each of you one at a time by name. And the meeting is now open for the sharing of testimonies of healing through Christian Science. Pilar from New York, go ahead.
Good evening. I want to express my deep gratitude for this church and for what I'm learning in this church ever since I've been attending the services and doing the readings and just participating. I've been working on certain things that probably comes from the past, and everybody does have something, but with the support of the practitioner, it's almost like peeling an onion layer by layer. All these things are being now tossed away, and I'm become more comfortable knowing myself as a child of God, which has been very difficult for me to accept due to reasons that I will not go into. But it's been a journey, it's been a process, but it's a very rewarding process, and I am so grateful for the support that I've been getting from my practitioner, and for everything that this church has to offer. The articles in the website are very helpful at times when I become despondent, and I just want to say thank you, and thank you for those wonderful readings about fear. I'm overwhelmed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pam from Virginia, go ahead.
I am so grateful for this dear church. Since I've become a member, I've found that I am so much more alert to my moment-by-moment thinking. And through all that I've learned from the Bible studies, the roundtable discussions, the church services, and the powerful articles offered on this church website, I'm much better prepared in handling animal magnetism, which is always trying to suggest a lie about the truth. And I know the truth can never be destroyed by a lie. I have also been so much better prepared for our church watches. What a wonderful church. It is a beacon light to the world. Thank you for the wonderful readings tonight.
Thank you. Janet from Georgia, go ahead.
Thank you. This morning I awoke to tornado warnings from the radio. I looked out the window and I saw 2 geese standing on the shore of the lake, and I noticed how calm they were. And then I noticed more geese landing on the lake, and the 2 near the shore paddled over to join them. I was thinking, this is so obvious to me that they know nothing of the tornado warnings I heard. Shortly after that, I heard the sound of some very heavy rain. I began to pray, and I prayed with the following articles, which are found on the Plainfield website. Peace and the Storm by Florence Roberts, and from Herbert Eustace, Christian Science and its Clear, Correct Teaching. In Mrs. Roberts' article, she spoke of a flight that she was on and how they had gone through a storm which caused much turbulence. She said she prayed to know that mind is all, and all flights, trains, drivers, cars, and buses were in mind. I found this helpful to me because this started during the rush hour today. In the Eustace article, he spoke of mind embracing all action. I held to these thoughts and other thoughts that came to me, and in a matter of less than minutes, the heavy rain slowed and became moderate. And there were no further announcements of tornado warnings or any tornadoes reported. I was so grateful for this demonstration of God's protecting care, but I kept on praying even though it seemed I had achieved the desired result. I've learned from this church the importance of staying with God and holding to His law of love and harmony until I feel the peace in my thought. I'm so grateful for Plainfield Christian Science Church Independent for this wonderful service, the beautiful readings, and the music this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jim from Arizona, go ahead.
Good evening. I would like to express my gratitude tonight for our Unity Watches. These are so helpful and so supportive for the church. Thank you.
Thank you. Chardell.
Good evening, and thank you for this service, the healing readings and music. Tonight, I would like to offer my gratitude for our Plainfield calendar that offers a daily inspirational quote. For example, today we have, quote, God is not afar off. He is here, nearer than the air we breathe, end quote, by Irving C. Tomlinson. Several months ago, I started taking a picture of the quote on the calendar and sending it off by a text message to a young friend of my daughter whose mother is going through medical treatment. She would often reply, and one day when she said things were really rough, I suggested she read the 23rd Psalm. It was then that I realized that the calendar statements are a stepping stone to reaching out to God and taking in His great love for us. She has asked me to continue sending the quotes, which I do. God is everywhere available, and the calendar supports this fact. Thank you, Plainfield.
Thank you. Colleen from Massachusetts, go ahead.
Good evening. Tonight I'd like to express my gratitude. An error that I had been doing for a long time came to the surface. I had a bad habit of greeting people of just a hi, how are you? And I've done it all my life, and I never thought too much of it. And I greeted someone that I care about quite a bit, and the last couple times, something came to the forefront of my thinking, and I said, why am I asking how this person is? I know she's well. I know she's perfect. And I'm not even thinking she's sick. So why would I ask, how are you, when I know she's well? And I thought, wouldn't it be better to say, hi, it's so nice to talk to you, or hi, it's good to see you. And I think it's a better way to start off a conversation with someone that you care about, and start from the right foot. And so I think that I'm going to be doing this more now. It's in the front of my mind, and it's just a better way to start off my day with people and those that I care about. Thank you, and thank you for the music and the beautiful readings tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda.
Good evening. Thank you for the beautiful readings in the service tonight. I am very grateful for what I am learning at Plainfield Christian Science Independent Church, which continually teaches from the Bible and Mary Baker Eddy's writings with practical, clear repetition and examples. I came to Plainfield in need of help with resentment, and I wasn't even aware of how much resentment I carried. The recent roundtable and Bible study on love had a very healing influence for me, and I was reminded how much I appreciate the work of a Plainfield practitioner who has helped me with quite a few situations that I was reacting strongly to and often feeling disturbed. It has required me to replace long-held habits of fearful ruminating, people-pleasing, and pride, and with that instead being honest, having self-awareness, and learning courage with God. This did not happen overnight, but through work and time I have gained strength from seeing God work in my life, restoring and healing. I am deeply grateful to be leaving these negative ways of thinking for more peace, joy, and calm found in following biblical principles. And I am, too, also very grateful for the offerings at Plainfield Church. Thank you, and good evening.
Thank you. Jeremy.
I am very grateful tonight for what I am learning here about Christian Science and the importance of listening to spiritual sense. The other day, my car's check engine light came on. I had this momentary feeling of dread, but then, using what I have learned here, I pushed that out with the understanding that I use this vehicle to do what I feel God is directing me to do. Certainly, He wouldn't turn around and punish me for that. And with that, the worry went away, and I said out loud, "Okay, Father, what should I do?" The very first thought after that was, the right thing to do is schedule the car to be looked at by a mechanic, and also to let my practitioner know. Well, that sure felt like the right plan, so I made the appointment, and I let my practitioner know. And then the very next day, I got in the car, the check engine light was off. I laughed, and I thanked God for all His good. I also thanked my practitioner the next time we spoke. And today I had the car checked out, and it ended up only being a loose gas cap that triggered the light. For me, this seemed a perfect analogy for how spiritual sense works. I go through my day doing what I feel is right, and when the warning comes, I get to work applying the truth I've been taught here, so I can quiet everything but that still small voice. And if it is a bigger issue, what a blessing it is to have practitioner support to guide me through. Either way, the concern always turns out to be tiny compared to the truth. I'm so grateful for all the ways that this church is set up to help us navigate our lives and be what God made us to be. I'm so grateful for Christian Science, for practitioner support, and this church. Thank you.
Thank you. Sharon.
Last week when I was doing some cooking, I burned my arm. And immediately I knew there were no accidents in Divine Mind. And there is no spot where God is not. And everything was fine. About 5 minutes later, my arm started to hurt like I could not believe the pain. And my reaction was I laughed. I said, my arm can't talk, so what is this? This is just mortal mind, and it's a liar. And I'm not having it. And that was the end of it. No more problem. I'm so grateful to have learned in this church that when a problem comes up, you either have to laugh, cry, or get mad. And in this situation, I was really surprised at my reaction of laughing. But it did break the mesmerism, and all was well. I'm so grateful for practitioner help, for this church, the readings, the music, and to be a member here. Thank you.
Thank you. Fairley from Maryland. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was raised in the Episcopal Church, but here in Washington, where I was living, I grew up in the South, in Alabama, but when I came here, I got married and we had a little boy, and we were going to an Episcopal church, and the Sunday school was unusually poor. I mean, they were playing Star Wars for Sunday school, and my son would just sit over in a corner and pull off his socks and shoes. And so we were driving past, we were driving to his little preschool every morning, and I would pass by the Christian Science church. And I had heard about Christian Science, though my family was Episcopalian. My mother's grandmother, my great-grandmother, had been a Christian Scientist at the time of Mrs. Eddy, because she'd been through a very fearful experience during the Civil War when they had to refugee out of Philadelphia and go south because her family were involved in Southern politics. But at any rate, she founded a Christian Science Sunday school in her home down in a small town in Alabama. And my mother had been to it some. And so we kept passing this on the way to my little boy's school. And so I decided, well, we're having such a bad Sunday school here, I think I'll just take him in there for the Sunday school and see what happens. So after that, I read Science and Health. I did leave him in that Sunday school. And for the past 30 years, I've been a Christian Scientist. But I had class instruction, but I never really was able to feel very successful with it. And not only that, I did not need physical healing, but I had come to have a great fear of what would happen to me after I died. I feared that I had actually been left out by God for some reason I did not know. So I was searching, and when I found the Plainfield on the website, my life turned around. And I can't say enough of gratitude for my practitioner who answered the phone when I called, because right then, somehow I heard a voice of understanding. And all I've learned here at Plainfield and all they offer here with the Bible studies and the round tables and all the support, it's just been so wonderful for me. It turned my life around. I'm very thankful for those readings on fear, because I suffered a great deal of fear. And it's very comforting to know what we know when we really understand Christian Science more, as I have come to in being at Plainfield. Thank you for those readings. Thank you for this service. I'm very happy to be here always.
Thank you. Michael from California, go ahead.
Thank you for those readings. One thing that I've always struggled with is sort of been raised in culture and the place I grew up in. I guess confrontation was sort of a test of your, I guess, manhood, and sort of this sort of macho pressure to always never lose face. And it's been something that has always been a challenge for me. Last week I had a situation at work where somebody that I wasn't getting along with, there was a moment where I think my picture or video was taken of me, and I believe it was going to be the beginning of some, I guess what the modern term would be cyberbullying or trolling, where pictures, unflattering pictures would be spread through social media. And when this happened, I saw this person I wasn't getting along with going around and sharing pictures and bursting into laughter with other people. It really brought back a lot of these, I guess, cultural conditioning that I just mentioned, and it was very hard. I really felt like hurting this person, honestly, and it took a lot of self-control to not lose my temper and not to say something or do something. I went home that day, and for a few days, it was really hard to concentrate, to pray. I mean, it was just really on my mind a lot, and the ramifications of what I'd have to deal with at work, and it just really sort of took over my thoughts more than I can remember that happening in a long time. And I reached out to a Plainfield practitioner, and she gave me some articles to read, Taking Offense, and also Love Your Enemies. And that was really the beginning of breaking the mesmerism and the, I guess the resentment or hatred or whatever I was feeling. It really started to leave me, and I finally started to get some dominion and freedom over it that same day when I called. And as the days have gone by, it's really been just, I really feel just free of that. And every now and then the temptation to think about it comes back to me, but I really have been freed of it, and I'm just really grateful. To continue what happened today, I saw these people. I understand that I saw them leave work early, the people that were involved in this situation, which, by the way, I reported because that was what I should have done. And I saw them leave, and they did not come back. And that's not a good sign for them. I'm not sure what the final outcome will be, but that's out of my hands. I just did my part in preventing this from escalating into something else. But I know that I'm neither taking any pleasure in it, nor am I feeling any sort of celebration over it. I just feel like I'm free of the resentment and the hatred and whatever I was feeling, and I am just grateful that I can just focus on God, and I've been able to do that now for a couple of days and really get my spiritual sense back. So thank you, thank God. I want to thank the practitioner, this church, for all the material that you provide for everybody. Just really grateful for all of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Day or Florence, go ahead.
This is Day. Thank you. Thank you for tonight's readings on trusting in God's care. Throughout my life, I've had many experiences where thoughts of what might happen in future, what may result from significant changes with employment, relocation, new relationships, and so on, left me feeling worried or doubtful. Through the Christian Science teachings in this church, I'm learning to trust God more and gaining a better understanding of His omnipresence and omnipotence is helping me to do so. I realize that as various fears come about, I am to remember that God is everywhere, and there is nothing that I can do and nowhere that I can be at any time when He is not there with me. What's more comforting is to know that wherever I go, God has gone before me. I'm thankful to know that I can trust in His care completely when I'm obeying Him as best I can. And I'm even more grateful when I think on past times when I was not being obedient and He was still right where I was protecting me. With each experience, I'm learning to rely on God more, and I'm so grateful to know that the more I'm faced with fears, the closer I'm getting to my Father. I'm so grateful for everything going on this church, for the continued work that goes on here that's blessing everyone. It's blessing me tremendously, and I'm forever grateful once again. Thank you so much for tonight's meeting, for the readings, and for all of the testimonies. Thank you.
Thank you. Gary.
Yeah, thank you very much for those readings. Learning to trust in God is such an important, really essential thing. I've been thinking before I came to this church, or even after I came to this church, and for many years, I thought I had to be in control of all this stuff in my life. I wanted to understand everything that was going on around me. And whenever faced, with an issue, I would often study it to death. And then when I finally got around to doing something, it was often too late, or wrong, or both. But it was a practitioner and a teacher in this church that taught a lot of us, that God is the only one who can ever be in control of anything. And that it's actually quite foolish of me and egotistical of me to think that I could ever control anything or anyone or be able to change anyone. And that includes, my children, people I work with, any situation. And that when we do face issues, really the only thing we can do is to turn to God and ask Him and then act on it immediately. I love in Psalm 119 where it says, "Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path." Learning to trust God has been one of the most wonderful things that Christian Science has taught me. God knows far better than I do what's best for me. And He knows far better than I do what's best for anybody else. So I'm grateful to be learning this, to be putting it into practice, because I'm finding that as I do this, things unfold more clearly to me. I am less apt to try to change anybody else. And I find that when I do things, they tend to be the right things to do at the right time, because God is the one who's directing them. So this is a wonderful lesson. I am so grateful to be learning, so grateful to be here tonight, and thank you again for these fine readings.
Thank you. Florence from Georgia, go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to express my gratitude for learning about how empty fear is. It's an empty bully, and yet it torments men the world over. I'm so grateful that Mrs. Eddy has made that clear and has taught us what to do to challenge it and cast it out. On our website, under her articles, there is one that anyone dealing with this empty nothing should read. The title is Excerpts from Collectania, and there's a section there about fear. She says, do not fear your sense of fear. It is nothing. We are as safe as omnipotent God. God's idea absolutely cannot fear. He knows there is just one mind. Is he going to use that mind to fear with? Is he living in God and still afraid? Is there anything outside of or beyond God? Is there anything inside God to fear? God made all and proclaimed it good. This is the first paragraph. But I do recommend that it is a powerful, small, it's very short article for anyone dealing with this to read. I am so grateful because some of the thoughts that have come for me that have been helpful in dealing with the emptiness of fear is the fact that, it makes us feel so doubtful, uneasy, uncomfortable, helpless, tormented. Now, that could possibly not be from God. So right there, because of its nature, should tell us that it's empty, nothing, powerless. And yet it took me so long to realize that. I'm so grateful for everything Mrs. Eddy has given. Christ Jesus, God, absolutely, and everyone here, or those who have gone before, who have done all they can to keep this science going. Grateful to be here tonight, and thanks for all the other testimonies.
Thank you. Craig.
I'd like to give gratitude to a petitioner in this church for support I got just recently on a job interview. And I learned so much about God here and the great freedom it's given me by not giving God the credit for everything good. And I was reminded, I and my Father are one. My Father is the one that does the works. So the lesson was on love. And when I went to the interview, I felt like that I loved the person that I was talking to, and it felt so comfortable and humble in the conversation. And I put that to the support I was given. I didn't feel like I was arrogant, whatever, but I just felt like it was a lovely exchange, and I was there to share whatever I could. And it worked out well. And everything that I put in God's hands with the help of a practitioner works out well. I thank God, and that's the kind of person I want to be. Sometimes I have to catch myself, but to just let God show me the way of what should be done and give Him the credit. That's a lovely relationship. If you have a relationship between yourself and God, you're never alone. You're never lonely, and you're satisfied and happy. I thank God for the support that we get here in the lessons.
Thank you. Okay, to close our meeting tonight, Lil, can you please announce the last hymn?
Hymn 267. Our God is all in all. His children cannot fear. See baseless evil fall, and know that God is here. Hymn 267.